the 100% true, except for the parts that he made up, story of the most famous and longest-lasting parody artist in history, Weird Al Yankovic. First off, this review is gonna be biased because I am a huge fan of Weird Al and I thoroughly enjoy pretty much everything that he has ever done. I may or may not have seen him in concert a dozen times and on one occasion even had the pleasure of meeting him, so my gushing review, take it with a grain of salt. The closest movie tone-wise to Weird, the Al Yankovic story, is gonna be Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story. It's a biopic about the life of a musician. It is played 100% straight deadpan, yet the movie is filled with joke after joke after joke. The rapid-fire joke frequency can only be compared with The Naked Gun, even if the number of jokes that land in Weird is not nearly as high as the number of jokes that land in The Naked Gun. Now, since Weird Al is known for parodying songs, it is only fitting that this is a parody of movies about musicians. It hits all the same beats as a movie like Ray, or Bohemian Rhapsody, or Straight Outta Compton, or The Dirt, or Elvis. In order to fit an entire lifetime of events into 2 hours or less, a lot of concessions have to be made. Song inspirations have to happen immediately. Bands form seconds after the members meet, and there are usually subplots involving drugs, alcohol, and sex. And Weird, the Al Yankovic story, has all of these things. If you didn't know, Weird Al has been famous for 40 plus years, and to my knowledge, not a single negative thing has ever come out about him. He is consistently considered one of the nicest guys in the business, and almost every musician is flattered when Weird Al decides to parody one of their songs. The musicians who were not flattered, they might appear in Weird, the Al Yankovic story in the background with scowls on their faces. I'm looking at you, Coolio and Prince, R.I.P. Now, a movie about Weird Al's real life would have been entertaining to a superfan like me, but to the average Joe on the street, it probably would be kind of boring because there's really not a lot of conflict. So I appreciate the fact that the writers, including Weird Al himself, mixed real-life events such as buying an accordion from a door-to-door salesman with completely fabricated events such as Al's romantic relationship with Madonna, who is portrayed wonderfully by Evan Rachel Wood, who I hardly recognized at all. Now, Weird is somehow both not very weird and also bizarre and extremely weird at the same time. If you haven't seen Daniel Radcliffe in anything except Harry Potter, you are in for a treat. I'm finding him to be one of the most interesting actors working today. He has more money than he could spend in 5 lifetimes, so he agrees to act in these interesting low-budget movies where he just gets to be weird. Now, I don't think you can get much lower budget than a straight-to-the-Roku channel biopic about a niche comedy musician who isn't the best at the accordion, but he may be the best in a very specific genre. Many more of the jokes landed in this for me than I think would for the normal person that aren't as familiar with Weird Al's music. It is full of little references to his songs, even if the full song is never revealed. The songs that are featured in the movie were actually re-recorded for the movie, so they sound better than they ever have. Now, sometimes references occur in the background and are never mentioned at all by a character. We even get to see references to the number 27, which show up in many of Weird Al's classic songs. The way he gets song inspirations throughout the movie is always hilarious. Many times people speaking the exact lyrics, even if they make no sense in the context of the conversation. A weird thing about this was that I laughed a lot more than I expected to, but also not as much as I wanted to. Weird is one of those movies that I keep thinking about and laughing to myself about parts that somehow are now funnier that the movie has ended. The part that both my wife and I keep laughing about involves the way Weird Al sneaks out at night to go to his friend's polka party. It is so stupid and so funny. And the way Toby Huss, who portrays Weird Al's near abusive father, sells it is so great. And speaking of, Toby Huss is a national treasure. I love him in any role that he takes. There's also a pool party scene that features so many cameos that I had to pause it to look at the background characters. And what I mean by cameos is that the characters in the scene are famous people from the 1970s and 1980s, back when Weird Al was up and coming. But on top of that, those famous people are portrayed by current famous people who are all friends of Weird Al. There are so many cameos throughout the movie, no one is playing themselves, and half of the fun was trying to point out all the cameos and guessing who's going to pop up next. Weird Al reinvents himself every few years and he finds a new audience. Now, he hasn't released an album since 2014, but has somehow stayed relevant in his 8-year musical absence. I truly believe if non-Weird Al fans give this movie a chance, they will see what us lifelong fans love so much about Weird Al. His humor is both predictable and accessible, as well as being weird and unexpected. He rides right on the edge of being family friendly, but because of his personality, is able to get away with a lot more because of his squeaky clean image. Weird is a spoof of biopics, much like The Naked Gun, Scary Movie, or Hot Shots are spoofs of other genres. It's stupid and goofy, but it's also hilarious and heartwarming. It was made with love and all of the actors sell their part 100%. If you want to laugh, watch it. And be sure to stay for the credits to hear a brand new Weird Al song. Dating Madonna. Dr. Demento bubble baths. Hey boys. Making bologna sandwiches. Snazzy accordion salesman. Wearing platinum records around your neck.